Well, then we'll get started. So. All right. Okay. Yep, we're rolling now. So. Good morning. It's a little bit after 8 o'clock a.m. This is Monday, August 4th, 2025. We're at City Hall, and with a quorum of members present, I will be calling the Capital Improvement Program Committee to order. We have one item on our agenda this morning, and that's to conduct CIP project prioritization and formulate funding recommendations. And prior to the meeting, we were handed out the Capital Improvement Program 2026 request summary that listed all of the projects that we had listened to, that we were presented over the last two meetings. And then we took this information back with us and ranked the projects, and this is the average rankings before us this morning. So we have $6,268,592 worth of projects that we considered. We have $600,000 worth of funding available to us. So there's, well, actually, the $868,592 of projects, $600,000 of funding available, and $6,268,592 shortfall. So there's a lot to consider here today.
And I do think, so I see that the $2.5 million for the fleet facility and design ranked high. I know there's a little bit of leg room to do before you can actually finish that design work, meaning select a location. So that would be funded with debt, not out of that $600,000. So I think it would be fair to kind of pull that out of the running. It can still be included in the budget because it ranked high. It's just it doesn't have to be funded out of that $600,000.
Okay, so if we debt finance that,
yeah,
that gets us a little bit further down
yes.
the list.
Yes.
Alder Rasmussen?
Thank you. So I was thinking that too, that since that's going to be bond borrowing and we go to that market in the fall, knowing whether or not they have a site by then. I mean, obviously you can build that borrowing into the 2026 budget and then not borrow it if they don't have it, and then borrow it if they do. But if we were to restrict that, and then recognize that there's no levy impact to the three TID projects, where do we draw the line then? If we were going to put a red line on this for what projects are in and out, how far do we get on the 660?
Okay, so let me see.
Does it get us about to the comprehensive plan, maybe?
I don't even think it makes us that far. My quick calculations were that up to the fleet facility design, that was $452,000, and then if we added special event safety enhancements and ballistic shields, that gets us to $620,000.
Okay.
Yeah, so the PFAS, IT resilience, solar array, extraction tools, ballistic shields, special event activity enhancements, athletic parking, Fire Station 1 apron, and data tagging gets you to 607,756.
Okay, you got better math than I do.
Well, I'm using my laptop. So.
Do we have an alternate fund source for Memorial Park? Because it sounds like that's critical. If they lose the road, we can't use the facility.
We do not.
I think they were talking about patching as an option instead of reconstruction, but
Okay. Well, and if
As
they have
Jamie.
stable soils underneath, I guess that's what it sounded like. Maybe they don't.
Perfect.
yeah.
Have we seen what infrastructure projects INF is recommending yet for next year? I wonder if that street could be put into that. Every year they pick some streets.
The Memorial Park Drive.
Yeah. I mean, if they could pick that up, I don't know. Or part of it.
I saw the 5-year plan a couple months ago at a back in May, I think it was at the INF meeting, but I don't recall what next year's.
What streets they were, yeah.
Yeah, I could look it up, I suppose.
Well, I mean, I guess only because they have it marked critical.
So since our
I think everything else we have below the line really would keep. It doesn't, I feel like we have the ranking in the right order. I mean,
Obviously, the special event, that's a 5-year or 4-year project, so its total is 650. So this is just 1 year of it.
1 year of it.
I don't know. I said to Matt, I went to the Boston Marathon this year because my niece ran in it, and I got invited by my brother to tag along. They don't have any fancy things like that.
Lot of
They just use
yeah.
trucks
a
and
lot of
things as
communities use
barriers.
dump trucks, garbage trucks, and whatnot, and
well, and I think that's.
So there is an alternate
There,
low-price solution, but
there is. Well, and I guess that's, we don't have room, do we have any room to reduce some of that with room tax? Events are events, right? I mean, we've used some of that for infrastructure type things before. We've diverted it to the trail, we've diverted it to,
So, right, the law right now, I mean, we're, using about 143,000 of it in the general fund every year to offset the work that staff do today for room tax related items, like all the events and things. So we put that in the general fund every year, and then the rest that the city has control over goes to the 5 or 6.
I wonder what the commission would say about part of it.
Well, so the law on the commission side says it can be used for marketing,
Okay,
for,
30 isn't gonna work.
I don't think so. The reason we could use trails is because it's a tourist destination.
true. Yep.
So you can develop destinations. So like communities use it for zoos, for river edge trails,
Yep.
for convention centers, for museums, things like that.
Well, and there's been times
don't
that,
know that
there's
they
been
need to
times
use
that
it
we've
for
had stuff
safety.
that scored high that we knew would be needed, but we've put a pin in them for the following year. Or we've put a pin in them to review at the end of the project year to see what we have left. If we go back to the list, if we can get any more done, but, I wonder if that's something that we should put a pin in for next year. And obviously those projects continue to come up on the list year on year. Maybe that's something that we would, if it's something that's gonna take 3 or 4 years to implement anyway, because it's in phases, maybe we just can't start in '26, we'd consider starting in '27 or re-rank it for next year. Because that really then would free up some funding for, a couple of the other things that are marked critical down the list a little further.
well, that would get us the comprehensive plan and wireless access points.
Right.
And then we'd be stuck at the Memorial Park Drive lot and lot pavement project. So by moving that one item, that would get us two further down the
2
list.
more, yeah.
Special event safety
I think
enhancements.
the one that we're looking at maybe moving down would be the special event safety enhancements. That would have been the portable barricades and the tethered drones.
That would be nice for the community, but not necessarily something we need right away.
Right, it's
we have
something
other
we
ways
could
of
really
handling
start
that at the
anytime,
moment.
it's just a
Yep.
matter of when.
Yeah.
They have a solution for now, it's not optimal, but it works. If they had nothing, I would feel different, but they have a method that's been working for now, so.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Jean.
just help me a little bit. After you take out the DPW 2.5 million, I've got, including the 600, I got 3.7 million of expense, roughly. How much can we fund?
Well, so if you wanted to know how much we could fund out of the levy, it's been about $600,000.
Oh, it's at 600, so.
Right.
Yeah.
So out of our right column, which is our obligation, right?
Yes.
You know, the ones that we included the 3 that are 0 because they're TID funded, right? So we
Yes.
brought them in right away. And then we have grant funding for a lot of it, so. I guess we don't have anybody to let us know how critical that oblique imagery is. To me, that sounds like a cyclical process that they, you know, every so often they have to redo.
Eric is here.
Is that something where we're in partnership with other units of government to get it done, where we'd be holding people up, or is it just ours?
No, this is just ours,
Okay,
yeah. And it is something that, you know, we use citywide, so, and it is cyclical. We do kind of have a schedule for that, and so we don't want our mapping and our imagery and stuff to get too far out of date. And so typically when we do this, the imagery and everything that they do will be in the spring. And so, I mean, it's really up to you, because the imagery is, and the obliques are going to be another year behind. So and then we have a schedule with the rest of it as well, you know, for new images, and so we kind of tried to space that out from year to year, so.
So if we push this off, everything else gets pushed off a year.
Yeah, unless you wanted to fund them both in the same year, yeah.
because,
Applied for a grant for one of his. I thought it was the extraction tools.
I don't, was it? I don't
I
remember if one
thought
of
so.
them was.
He's here.
Yeah.
now. Jeremy, did you apply for a grant for your extraction tools?
I did.
Do you know when you'll find out about that?
Should be late September.
Oh, okay.
it'll be a while.
And is that, like, what's the funding ratio of that?
That one, well, I applied for 2. One I already lost, that was 100%. This one will be just a 10% match.
Okay.
We get most of it if that comes through. The other thing I was looking at, though, is when IT ranked their projects between critical, high, medium, whatever, even though we scored up data tagging and data loss prevention, they only rank that as medium. You know, which is half of that imagery. You know, I guess the stuff they tagged as critical, we did score up, you know, those items. Would that be something we'd want to swap? I mean, we'd have to find the other 30.
There was one of those IT projects that had that we were doing in conjunction with the county,
Right.
and I believe that was the IT resiliency, maybe?
Yeah.
I think so. That was the one that he said was the most important.
Yeah.
We had that one way up there. But the other 2, I wonder if we could,
Wireless access points are city only.
right?
Party risk management was medium and ditto. Yeah, so that's the one that was the most.
I mean, even if we would swap that, you know, they seem to think the wireless access point system to add more wireless access points where people can get on the network was more important than the data tagging.
Yeah, I just texted Jerry and asked him if that was not funded, is that okay? And he said yes, for the data taking.
The data tagging. So, I mean, even if we would trade that, let's say we bring that down below the line, that would give us at least half the money for the imagery.
Mm-hmm.
But we're gonna need another 30 from somewhere.
There we go.
Can we split the purchase of those ballistic shields into 2 years?
Oh, sure.
What if we'd buy them half and half?
What was this again?
Ballistic shields, what if we bought them in 2 batches, split them half and half? I have to look and see how many they were getting in the first. It wasn't one for everyone, so I'm just curious what impact that would. I was gonna look at her write-up in the book quick. I mean, we've bought radios in 3 phases before, we've bought, you know, I mean, where we bought body cameras in phases before. That's where I just wondered if we would get half and get the second half next year. That would free up what we need.
This, let's see, the 60,000 buys 10 shields. Didn't they say that 5 of them were end of life or something?
Check.
So splitting the project in half would replace the shields that
5 each year.
would no longer be functional, and then
The following year, we could get the 5 extra.
5 extra.
I mean, that at least gets them some.
Mm-hmm. Well, this, actually, well, so the, wait, I'm looking at the wrong.
Well, and in their
looking at
funding
the wrong
request, they have a $10,000 contingency. The equipment was marked at 50,000, the contingency was marked at 10. I mean,
Yeah.
you never know if you'll spend all that contingency. So, you know, if that, depending on what price they get on them, if they end up getting 6 or 7, we'd be closer, you
Yep.
know? I mean, if they could do a little better with that. Maybe that then would get us that imagery, and then half the shields.
Half the shields. Anybody else on that, or is that work, moving the, cutting the ballistic shields in half, moving the data tagging down further so we can get the oblique imagery moved up into the, above the line? Okay, I think if we were to cut the ballistic shields in half and then move data tagging and data loss prevention out below the line, we would be able to move oblique imagery above the line and cover that.
That would get them at least half the shields, and Jerry seemed to think leaving that for a future year was okay.
Yes.
For the data.
For
yeah,
the data
for
tagging and
data
the lost
tagging.
stuff?
Yep.
He only had that ranked medium anyway, so that would keep for a year, and then we could kind of earmark the other 5 ballistic shields for next time, knowing that we made that split.
Yeah.
I mean, that really does, I feel like, give us a fair list then.
And then Memorial Park Drive would not be funded.
Well, I mean, that, typically we borrow for those projects, right? That's an infrastructure thing
We can-
technically.
We can recommend that.
I mean, if we'd recommend that that gets added to the 2026 borrow,
Okay.
because I think the longer we continue to cobble that together, at some point, if they've got drainage issues or something underneath there with that slope, you know, they can only Band-Aid fix that for so long. I don't think patch is gonna hold. I mean, at some point, they'll lose that road,
Yeah.
right? So,
And there's a lot going on in Memorial Park.
yeah, I mean, that then causes, like Jamie said, the closure of the park, the boat launch, the baseball diamond, the pool, the, everything down there,
Golf,
so.
yeah.
And it's the only way in, unless you're gonna traverse the steps from the other side, so I feel like that, maybe we'd recommend that for the borrowing for next year.
Okay.
I mean, they can decide depending on where they come out in the rest of the budget process, if they wanna continue to leave it in or wait, but I don't feel like we have another fund source for that.
I thought we brought that above the line. That one, didn't we say that was, didn't we find,
I think we were stuck at the comprehensive plan.
Yeah, we made it as far as the comprehensive plan. So,
Now we got the imagery, but if we were to move up Memorial Park, we would just recommend that they borrow for that with their annual project budget, right? Their annual borrowing.
So, I mean, all of the parking lots, you know, when you look at the Riverside Park, that's considered critical. Where's Sylvan? How come I don't see Sylvan on here?
It's way down. It's under the LED lighting.
Oh, yeah.
That one was rated high, but not critical.
yeah.
If we bid those all out together, Eric, would you get any savings from somebody who has 3 parking lots to do you think? Or no, there was no,
Or are none of them big enough to make that?
No, there could be, you
Okay.
know, possibility to scale. Doing that, I couldn't guarantee it. I mean,
Do we save some money doing any of that in-house now that they have the equipment? They've been doing,
we can, it's more of a timing issue for us
they've
on how
done
many
a
streets we
really
have
good
to
job
do.
on those neighborhood streets, though. I mean, like, they have
Yep.
the technique down now. And with those smaller, you know, not necessarily oddly shaped spaces, I feel like rather than hire a contractor, we could save a bunch, right? If it would work into the schedule.
Yeah, I
Then
mean,
you
we
can
can
do them as
certainly
time
try.
permits. You wouldn't have a set
Right.
day. You know, if you have a couple day span where you can get one and then maybe get another one
Yep,
in between, I mean, maybe that would save us a bunch of money if we would do the work in-house. That's what I had suggested for that athletic park lot as well, you know, rather than build a parking lot that'll last 30 years. We don't know what that riverfront's gonna yield yet, so
Yeah.
the more of that we could do in-house,
I think some of the challenges with the parking lots is our zoning, right? So if we have to put in curb and we have to put in islands, you know, our guys don't do curb. And so,
well, and we're in violation of our
So
own
then-
zoning at Sylvan right
Right.
now. 'Cause
right.
It's gravel.
Yeah,
So,
right. So, I
That's
mean, I
the-
think that's
right.
we can certainly take a look at it.
Well, and I feel like we have the room to give ourselves some grace on something like that too. I mean, even if it's something where, you know, I don't know if you get a variance to leave it that way forever, but at some point, a fix is better than no fix, right? I mean, the curb is a drainage thing, and I mean, that's why it's in the ordinance, but if we have to give ourselves some flexibility to get the work done for the public, maybe that's something that, you know, whether that comes from the plan commission or whomever,
Right.
I feel like that ask should maybe get made because we can't let stuff continue to degrade either, but, I mean, if we could, let's just say we could save 40%. I don't know if that's, I don't know what we save over by in-house labor versus a contractor, because really, if you're paying the crew anyway and you own the equipment, we're
Right.
down to just the material costs.
Correct. Yes.
So that is where I feel like we could capture a bunch of savings and get the work done. You know, and they've been sitting now. It's not like they're at crisis level or anything, so if they would have to work it into their schedule, the fact that you get one here and one there isn't the end of the world, because you're at least getting them, right? So, you know, I mean, as time permits, at least in my mind, would be fine, because right now, nothing's happening. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but
Alder Gissman?
but I think we should start the mark. I mean, all these parks, all these parking lots, that these parks are really bringing in people from all over the state of Wisconsin. They're quite popular. I feel we just really have to make a strident effort to fix them up. It's an embarrassment for the city to have such wonderful parks, swimming pools and all that, and yet to get there, you have to go over almost, I shouldn't say that, but you do have to go through roads that do need mending and being taken care of. And what does that say to our visitors, that we can't take care of the parking lots that they're supposed to be parking at to enjoy our facilities? We do a great job with our parks, I think, and our parking lots, in my view, is a big part of that. So what can we do?
I don't know, I'm always a fan of something being better than nothing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do nothing doesn't get us anywhere. So, I mean, if we were to seed a collaboration between our in-house staff and the park department and let them work out the when, I think we don't know how these numbers would drop, but I feel like they've got to drop by some, if you're only investing in materials.
So, I mean, I absolutely have no issue with that, you know, making the schedule with the Parks Department. It is the cost of the materials and the hot mix and things like that. So is that what you're looking at budgeting? I'm trying to understand what we're trying to
Well, I don't think we want to take it out of your hot mix road budget. I
Correct.
think we would want
Yeah.
to add hot mix funding with the intent that we would work in those 3 parking lots.
Right.
You know, and maybe that comes in the 2026 budget process where the hot mix comes to play. You know, because you guys have added extra to that in the past with carryover and salt surplus and
Salt
things.
savings, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe that comes out in the budget discussion, but I feel like you'd have to add funding to the engineering budget for either asphalt overlay or paving, so that you
Correct.
aren't sacrificing neighborhood streets for it,
Right.
you know? But I think if we could eliminate the third
The
party, the
operating budget
contractor.
is going to be really tight this year.
Well, if we could eliminate the contractor labor though on this, maybe we could at least, even if we get one, it's
one
better than
done.
nothing, right? So, you know, maybe you get 1 or 2, or you get the third one the next year or whatever, but I think if we continue to kick the can down the road, at some point, they're all gonna be gravel. You know, and then we really are gonna have, the only thing I think that, well, and now they're using Sylvan for summer activities as well. I think that was sometimes less noticeable when it was snow covered, the actual condition of the pavements when there was, you know, but if they're using the park in the summer, it's apparent, like you know, with the bike trail and stuff up there now. So, I don't know what we want to do with that. I think we would need more information. We'd need at least a guesstimate of how the cost is affected
Yeah.
by taking them in-house,
I think we'd have to, yeah, get some estimates and just put a pin in those projects.
based on their size.
Yeah.
Is the-
I think it's going to be a really big challenge to push things into the operating budget this year, like a really big challenge. But if you wanted to put a placeholder and in the capital budget, you could do that by saying you're going to fund through bond, but based on our estimates right now, don't see how we would be able to add it to the operating budget.
Okay.
Only guessing.
So, what are we looking at for a total here? Let's just say,
Yes, we did.
right, for next year, but we used that money up, getting the other stuff off the line. And maybe that's what we need. We need to discern, let's just say we can't get all 3. Which one is the most important?
Of the parks,
I mean, we're already doing athletic park because that's a TID, so that's handled. But,
Riverside Park, I don't know that I've been to Memorial Park, but Riverside Park certainly.
that's marked critical.
I'm sorry, Riverside Park certainly needs it. I think that has some deep holes. And just a refurbishing of some other parts of that just need to be taken care of.
Jim, did you have something?
I had a question about the solar array. Could you refresh my memory on what that money's going to go toward? I thought originally when that first came about that there was no upfront cost to the city years ago when we first started talking about it. So just what's that money for?
It's the panels and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it's for the construction of the array. And so there is currently a 30 up to 50% tax credit that we would be able to take advantage of currently. I don't know how long that'll be around, if that'll last into 26. And so we're anticipating if it is available, at least 30% reduction in the overall cost that would come back. But there is a capital upfront cost for us. Yeah, above and beyond that. We are still, looking for grants and other things as well to help offset, but
It looks like that does kick off a large general obligation borrowing though in 27, right? Because we got 150 in 26.
That gets us engineering and design.
That gets,
Right.
Yep, that gets it ready to go, and then we're at just under a $2 million borrow then the following year
Right.
to get it rolling.
Thank you.
so, when you look at that project, I guess one of the thoughts I think of this committee might be to look at if those tax incentives go away and there's nothing to offset those, is that still something that you would want to move ahead with, right? Because if we're going to spend $100-some thousand on engineering, knowing that those tax credits aren't going to be there, I think that's something that would have to be considered or at least brought up. So
That's a concern. I mean, really, that,
I think we will know more after the federal fiscal year ends. And so, if that's a placeholder for now and there's a couple different options, to do something else with that money if for some reason that there isn't those incentives anymore, just as kind of some forethought, because I don't know how that's going to shake out in future years on where things are going. So,
I would hope that if we lose 30% of credit, we don't move forward, because that's a big loss. Because, eventually things are going to change. It'll come back. It's a roller coaster. Sometimes you get credits, sometimes you don't.
right. We're looking at an $80,000 decrease in utility cost at the plant though too, which we defer that too. I mean, we're not going to get our utility savings in the plant operation
correct.
if we don't install that.
The tax credits are if I'm correct, the tax credits are over the life of the project. So.
Once it's constructed, then we can apply for that lump sum to come back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that's so
Yeah.
that's a one-time tax credit. And
that's correct. Yes.
Is that part Wisconsin funding or is that all federal?
As far as I know, it's all federal at this point. I'm not aware that Wisconsin has anything in it at this point. That's kind of what we're trying to keep an eye on, on if there's anything additional.
I thought there was, but maybe not.
It comes through the state, Gary. Right, the Fed's money comes to the state, yes. Yeah.
Joe Jean?
Coming from the utility side, and I don't think you're going to fund it with utility dollars
No,
because I don't want any further burden on the rate payers.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we ever intended for it to come out of the rate.
Right.
Well, we wouldn't, with the tax credits, we wouldn't be able to apply for those until after it was complete, so we're looking at 2028. But,
Likely, yes. Yeah.
Well, and like Jim said, the winds of change who knows what would happen by then.
yeah, I know exactly.
So, yeah,
Hard to plan that.
it is.
But I guess I do feel like we should have a pretty good indication before the end of the year. And so, I would definitely come back to finance with whatever, if for some reason that those are going away after this year. And so if we built in 27, those would not be available. And then, obviously that funding then would be potentially available.
'Cause, yeah, you could
I
put
mean,
a
that's
pin in-
That's kind of the,
But the operational cost savings is still a benefit, so we're still gonna get that.
it is, the payback, you know, of the 17 to 19 years, right? A lot of that depends on the tax credits coming back, right?
Sure.
And so if you lose those tax credits, does that, you know, it extends out your payback, right? And the overall cost savings of the project. And so,
Either way, long-term, it costs us nothing.
yeah, just, yeah,
Long-term, but
long, yeah, correct.
Like
Yes.
15-year term, right?
I think if the tax credits go away, I think we're looking at around 20 to 25 year. So the
Okay.
life of the
So
facility.
life of the
considerable
facility.
amount of added
Yeah.
time then?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah,
I feel like if we leave it in, and then we find out the grant funding isn't available later in the year, finance, maybe even before they ratify their budget in November, could come back to this list and move some stuff around, right? If that funding would become available. I mean, even if you get one parking lot or whatever, like,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, we could leave that open for the committee to switch around.
The
I mean,
federal-
our
yeah.
recommendations could go in this way, and then if you find something out different 3 months from now, you could move stuff around in the finance committee during the budget process.
could we mark some stuff right now for
Oh, yeah.
next in line?
We could,
Same with
we could choose the alternatives, I suppose,
grants, yeah.
as far as what gets swapped.
Yeah, the federal fiscal year ends, what, October 31st, so it
Right,
would-
and your budget gets approved the second week in November.
So there would be a chance to
You'd
make
have one meeting to do something, maybe,
Yeah, yeah.
so,
if they're on time.
if they're on time.
Yeah,
It could just be another continuing resolution and
Correct.
nothing changes though either.
right.
Well, and that then would leave the funding in, so,
Hopefully.
you know,
Yeah,
maybe
no.
that's not the end of the world, even though it seems like kicking the can, you know? Because that then would give us, it would leave Memorial Park out, right? But then it would give us the oblique imaging.
And not recommend funding it with bond?
The,
Memorial Park, I thought
yeah, that's right, we were gonna, so the other two is what we were looking at, right?
Yes.
Sylvan and Riverside was what we were looking at. Yeah, no, we were gonna recommend bond for Memorial Park because it's the access road.
Yeah,
The other two is what we were looking at. So those two at 185 and 175. $360,000. I mean, the solar array isn't, even if they defer the solar array, it's only half that, so it's less than half that. We wouldn't get, you wouldn't get all of one. You'd have to find some money, extra money anyway. Assuming that these prices are right.
okay, so I guess that leaves us at, the line gets moved down to oblique imagery, if I remember,
With data
Correctly?
tagging off down below,
yep, with data tagging,
and ballistic shields at 50%,
yep.
and the rest pretty much intact, right?
Yeah,
Okay. And if we wanted to, I mean, assuming the solar array stuff doesn't pan out, if we wanted to choose a project for the swap, is it Sylvan or Riverside? I guess that seems the two that we were stuck on. I guess, which one's worse?
well, Riverside is listed as critical and Sylvan is listed as high, but I know that Sylvan has
seen
been
Sylvan
on
for 6
the,
years on here,
the
though.
list a longer period of time than
True enough.
Riverside has.
Does Jamie have a recommendation?
I don't know, Jamie, is with us. I don't know, do you have a recommendation between the two parks?
I don't really. I mean, the issue of why we put Riverside as critical is because there's actually big holes in it, where Sylvan is just deteriorated. It's pretty flat. I mean, we can even grade it because it's more like
So it's not
gravel.
hazardous, it's just
Right.
ugly. right? I
Yeah,
mean, it's gravel.
It's more
so-
like gravel. It's very deteriorated. So Riverside has more of the, like, we have to fill
Like
holes
hazard
and-
stuff.
Yeah. Riverside's much smaller than Sylvan, but either one of them have been deteriorating underneath.
And there should be, with Riverside Park, there should be nothing, with like remediation of the hazardous,
Not in the
materials.
parking lot area. It didn't extend that far
okay.
north.
'Cause that really would kind of complete that park too then, because they've done all that soil in the bank. It's got new equipment, right? I mean, the picnic shelter's frequently used, so, I mean, that really would kind of complete a project there. I guess if that one was the one that gets swapped, I mean, we'd recommend that that be the switch out if the solar can't go this year, would that?
Is Riverside used more often for rentals, or?
Yeah, Riverside is used all the time for rentals. Between Riverside, Sylvan, Oak Island, they're our main, but Riverside's year-round too, just like Sylvan.
It's a little bit less too, so it would be easier, it would fit a little.
had to find 25,000, you could maybe find that in project savings from other
Yeah.
things.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah,
It's a smaller search.
I like that. That's a probably good choice.
Fair trade,
Okay.
and I mean, we just leave it to the committee to decide if they're gonna slot that in there or not.
yeah. Okay.
So I see Randy's here now. This, in the comprehensive plan, says that the state statutes require an update every 10 years. Well, like so if we don't do it, what's the, like, penalty? Do you know? I don't know if he knows.
That's in though now, right? Wasn't that above our line?
That's above the line at the
Oh,
moment.
is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
We left that in,
okay,
because they had it marked critical.
okay.
Good morning.
Hi.
I don't know what the, excuse me, I don't know what the penalty is for that,
Okay.
state statutes. I don't know that there's police that come around. There are some different consequences for, excuse me, for grants and other things, but
Okay.
just when we're tying things into our comprehensive plan for funding and different issues such as that could arise, but it is critical, though, with the state statutes and keeping up on that mandate.
Well, and if it would hinder our ability to apply or qualify for certain grant funding and things, I guess I'd be concerned if we left that off. And
Okay.
it takes a couple years to complete, right?
Yeah, we would anticipate that we would start in '26, completed in '27.
Okay,
Yeah, I feel like maybe they should get going at that.
okay.
I mean, also, it's just a good base for everything else that we look at with the city in terms of, your comprehensive plan moves into your strategic plan, and just prioritizing workflow from that perspective is important as well, just from good city planning.
Well, and all of the things we rank and score, one of the key components of the score sheet is the item compliant with the plan. So
Yeah.
I feel like we need a current plan to know if it is or isn't on that stuff.
Yeah, as I was answering that part of the question, I said it's very critical in order to be able to answer this question to have a comprehensive plan.
Yeah. Right? It was the one that was self-evident.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I feel like leaving that in maybe is a good idea.
Okay.
okay. Anything else?
The only other thing we left close on that list that was critical is the garage door at DPW. For 51, we left that.
Yeah, we got the police safety building flat roof replacement, but that was a phased project, but evidently the first phase hasn't been completed yet.
Well, there was a
so-
dumpster out front, so did they just start it? I see they had a dumpster out in the park.
I
They-
think that's for the HVAC.
Oh,
the
okay.
dumpsters.
So, yeah, I mean, they're funded from last year and haven't started yet, so maybe give them a year to catch up and then.
Okay.
The fact that they're three distinct separate sections is helpful, because it's not something that is
Continuous, yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, if they're still expending what we funded the year before, and they're looking at a late start on that this year, maybe taking a year in between isn't the end of the world. But I feel like if that door is dangerous, I worry about that.
Well, that was a phased,
The garage door replacement at DPW,
That's
yes,
phased.
yeah.
and they had it marked critical. I mean, I worry about a critical failure on that, not, even from a safety standpoint.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's something we could maybe earmark for. You know, if the fire department gets a grant or a partial grant for the extraction tools, that opens up some new horizons for the committee, for the finance committee.
Yep.
You know, maybe then you could get that door. If that,
Okay. We can make notes of that.
Yeah. I'll just,
I'd be okay with putting that next on the contingency list.
garage door FD grant.
is extraction tools a complete set? Or is it something you can piece out and get, you know, like we're doing with the ballistic shields, get half of it and get the other half next year, or no?
We certainly could. What's happening now is we switched from hydraulic tools years back to battery-operated tools. And with technology and everything, so all the tools work on the same set of batteries. So we could get longer life out of, say, a cutters compared to maybe the jaws of life compared to a spreaders and that sort of thing. So we could piecemeal, but that's just going to set us
Right.
in disarray in the future when we try to, upgrade everything and get a package price, which is typically a better price purchasing all of it at once compared
'Cause
to.
it's one set of things that rides in the rescue truck, right? It's not like one on each rig or,
Correct.
okay, so then you kind of want to buy that all at once. I was just thinking if it was something where you need a set for each truck, that you outfit them individually, and maybe you could parse that out, but if it's a complete set of equipment that rides in one vehicle, I feel like we maybe should leave that alone then.
Yeah. And I guess we'd know about the grant in September, so.
Yeah.
Right, so the committee could make that swap too then if
Yeah.
funding comes through?
Yep. I agree on that. Anybody, anything else? So I think, what do we got? So this gets us everything, let's see, runway, 1331 rehabilitation for 40,000, pavement maintenance for 35, taxiway reconstruction for 50, PFAS free turnout gear for 52,000, that's a phased project again, IT resiliency optimization project for 50,000, that's in conjunction with the county, solar array for 150,000, dependent upon the tax credits, extraction tools for 75,000, pending grant funding, fleet facility and design, we would debt finance that, ballistic shields, we're going to cut to 30,000 and phase that, athletic parking would come out of the TID, fire station 1 apron replacement for 80,000, data tagging and data loss prevention we cut. Wireless access point systems we have for 30,000. Comprehensive plan for 75,000. Memorial Park Drive and lot pavement project, we might put that into the levy. Oh, no, wait.
The 26
The levy,
borrowing.
excuse me, put that into debt. Put that in, debt fund that, because it's a roadway. Oblique imagery for 60,000. Public safety building, flat roof replacement, we're gonna defer. And then, DPW garage door replacement, 51,000. If we receive the grant for the extraction tools, we can add that project.
Right, and then the other substitute was Riverside Parks parking, right? If
Correct,
the solar
yes.
doesn't go?
If we lose the tax credits for the solar array, we can swap that out for Riverside Park.
Right, and then the rest we would leave on, or leave sit, and then, I mean, obviously, we'll either see them next year, or if we find project savings or something where you can get a little bit more done, you could always come back to the list at the end of the year.
Correct.
Would we add the River Edge Trail and the Jefferson Ramp temperature control upgrades because they're funded by TID?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks for reminding. River Ridge
yeah.
Trail Extension, Winton Street North for $800,000. That would go into
TID
TID 3 and potentially room tax. Jefferson Street ramp temperature control upgrade, $76,000. That would also be TID 3 eligible.
Yep, and the athletic park parking.
Yeah.
Yes, I mentioned athletic
Oh,
park
yeah,
parking.
okay.
For $623,956 would also be TID
Yep.
3.
Great.
That's actually a lot more completed than I expected. I mean, between our moving things around, we did get a sizable portion of the list,
Yes.
I'm impressed with that also. This seems like more than I thought we were gonna do.
right? I mean, we've had years where we drew the line underneath the second item before, and then we painfully decided what we were gonna do. So I feel like we got a lot accomplished if we shift about here a little bit, so.
Okay, so any, I guess, final words on that?
Sylvan Hill, just so, that's completely off the list. So there's no words to accompany this meeting with regard to Sylvan Hill.
I think unless we can find another 185,000 from something,
Right now, we don't really know where that is.
yeah, I mean, we don't even know where the 175,000 for Riverside Park is right now hanging, depending upon what the solar array does, so.
I took some comfort in leaving that one because it was less hazardous than the one with the hazards. I mean, when Jamie said at least Riverside seems to need it worse. It's holes versus a stable flat surface that's just worn down. So it's not a wheel trap or a foot trap. It's
No,
not pretty, but it works.
yeah,
Where the other one to me feels like it's more hazardous. The Riverside, if we had to choose, which I felt like we have to choose because we're out of money. So,
no, absolutely. Okay,
It seems to me that somehow we have to incorporate these parking lots into some other type of funding because Jamie comes here every year, and the parking lots, I think it's a very important part of the park system as well as the city of Wausau. And I think we have to thus fund some other way of dealing with these parking lots. We just can't let these go. And Jamie gets frustrated, the park department gets frustrated every year. So I think, I don't know if it's the park department, the park committee, or where, but I think somebody has to take the funding aspect of this under their wing and try to come up with some kind of an idea. If that's finance, so be it. But I think we really do need to find a way to finance these parking lots. Thank you.
is something like this, could this be eventually added into our roads maintenance timeline? Or would that not be appropriate? Street reconstructions?
I don't know, I feel like it's just classified different because it's not necessarily private, it's not right away, you
Not
know?
right away, yeah.
It's the facilities. It's part of the overall, I mean, if we were to develop a facilities maintenance plan, at some point, we've talked about wanting a facilities maintenance plan where you know roughly what the shelf life of a roof is, and you know, like, what your buildings are gonna need on a cyclical basis. Parking's part of that, along with the other infrastructure and facilities that, how we fund that, I think, is a challenge. We've tried to split that out even with equipment, and, I think the backlog is just large enough that we find ourselves taking this kind of scattershot approach. But,
Yeah.
I mean, if we were in a better budget spot with the cost of everything, but we really aren't. I feel like tough decisions get made, but, I mean, if we had a critical failure at Sylvan, I'd feel different about it. Like I feel different about Riverside. But
Yeah. It'd be nice to have both of the parks done, but if we can at least, we get Memorial Park done and potentially a second park.
Right, that gets
think
you 2/3 of the way
We're moving,
with
we're
those, and
certainly
then,
moving forward.
not that other ones won't crop up, but, I mean,
Yeah.
these are the ones we've been seeing. I feel like we've made forward progress. It's not complete, but it's something. I mean, when we first drew the line, we weren't doing any, right? I
That
mean,
is true.
We managed to we squeaked in a couple here, so.
Yeah. Anything else? Otherwise, I think we, according to the agenda, let's see, and formulate funding recommendations, we can entertain a motion to move this to finance. So,
I'll move that we move the list that resulted from this meeting to the Finance Committee for consideration in the 26 budget.
okay, motion from Rasmussen, second from Jean. Discussion on that? Not hearing anything. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And that carries. We'll send this list to finance for their budget considerations for for 2026. So, next up, motion to adjourn. Motion from Gisselman, second from Jean. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Thank you for your help, everybody.
Yep, we stand adjourned.